Well, hello and welcome back to our Christmas in July special 24-hour streamathon talking about the Christmas Widow, my nonprofit, where we support newly widowed families and their children at Christmas time. And I am excited to bring to you now Jared Miller. He is an amazing friend that I have had the honor to meet just this year. And he's got some exciting news that he will share, but I'm just going to open it up and welcome Jared. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks, Elena. I so appreciate it. Always humbled and honored to spend time with you and be a part of what you're doing. So just
Thank
happy
you
to be here
so
today.
much. Yes. So let's get right into it. Tell me, what do you do? And because we're all about serving and helping others, in what you do, how do you serve?
Yeah, so I'm super passionate about serving faith-based entrepreneurs and leaders, specifically young men between the ages of 15 and 30,
Oh, yeah.
in faith-based communities and really leadership at all levels. And there's a reason why I say I target men. I'm here to serve anyone that needs help in any way, but I lost my father when I was 20.
Okay. Wow.
And
Wow.
so I was in an internship about an hour and a half from where I live now. And so I remember being so enthralled in the internship and just so excited about a new level in my career and the direction I was headed in my life, only to find out that when I was 20, my father had a blood clot. He had a blood clot. And so one day I'm an intern. The next day, I'm now the man of the house for my mom and my 12-year-old sister.
Wow.
One moment I'm walking down the road of full-time ministry in a church setting, and the next minute I'm taking over my dad's business.
Wow.
And so there was, what's that?
At 20?
At 20 years old.
Wow.
And so everything that my father instilled in me from that point, there's so many young men who I want to just encourage and instill values inside of them and confidence and self-image and direction, not for what I think they should do, but where they feel like they need to go. I just want to be able to assist them and help them in that faith-based community.
Oh, that's huge, because having your father there for you through those years of growing up to instill those things, that's a blessing. Not everybody has that,
That's right.
So when you're a young man approaching those years of needing to make those decisions, if you didn't have anybody, yeah, where do you even begin? That's so awesome you do that. How long have you done that?
Well, so I'm 42 now. I have been doing that for probably the past, I would say 15 to 17 years.
Wow.
So it was just a few years after dad passed that I really said, hey, this is really what I need to do. Of course, I was trying to still figure it out myself. And I had, no one replaces your dad, but I truly believe that God put some spiritual leaders and some godly mentors in my life to help me where he was gone, to help me in that capacity, if you would.
To still keep you on that divine path of
Yes.
Of going to serve who you needed to. So today then, do you work with the same group regularly, or is it just through church and people come through? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for the listeners who maybe are familiar with faith-based communities, but if you're not, so I serve in two different ways. One, as a worship pastor, I lead the singing and the music for congregational gatherings. And then two, I work with the same teams via leadership and personal development. We do mastermind, one-on-one coaching, group coaching. And I do that at several different churches throughout the week, every week.
Wow. Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so Sunday's a big day for me, of course. So anything from, leadership is involved in everything you do, right? But with the skill set, I sing, I play an instrument, piano and acoustic guitar. I pick songs, I teach the songs. On the other spectrum, I also speak, preach, teach. I do coaching, do masterminds, but it's all pointed for faith-based entrepreneurs and leaders. And like I said, specifically young men between the ages of 15 and 30. that I really have a heart for and a passion for.
I love that. I love those leadership is an inside job. Right? If we're going to lead, if we're going to lead others, we're hardest to lead is ourselves. And to bring almost like a professional angle and between music and the, I mean, that's just an awesome mix.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's interesting how people have really good intentions and they mean well, but from time to time they'll put you in a box.
Mhm.
We don't put ourselves in a box, but people, like, for example, for the longest time, I was called the music guy. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And so then I began to speak more. Then I wrote my first book. And so I believe that all of us to a degree are multifaceted, but I do believe, it's better to be a specialist at a couple of things than be average at many things. So you can be diverse in your giftedness and talent as long as you're staying within your strength zone. And that's a level of awareness that all of us have to get to. We all have blind spots. But I'll say all that to say that, just because someone else called me the music guy doesn't mean that I was limited to that. So now I'm speaking and I'm preaching and I'm leading and I'm writing, and people are like, oh, I had no idea. So that's okay. God bless you. I did. So
Exciting to us because you've had busy time. Share with everybody listening, like now music.
I'm so sorry that it was.
Oh, did I cut out? No,
Yeah,
I was gonna share with us what's happening with you because you've had a busy of new happenings, and I said, "New guy, tell us what's happening."
So you're talking about my new book that's coming out?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So thank you so much for asking about that. So my first book was released in 2019. It was called Chasing Me Down. But the idea for my upcoming book, actually, the inception of the idea came 3.5 to 4 years ago. And the whole idea was the voices that you trust, the voices of influence, they're all around us, all of our relationships, the ones that you trust the most determine the direction of your life. So just a real practical example, this really easy everyday example. If I have to take my car to the mechanic and I have 3 different friends and they give me 3 different suggestions, you should take it here because I trust this guy. Take it here because they have good prices. Take it here because they do good work. The one that I trust the most is more than likely the one that I'm going to go with. And so that whole idea, really, I said, man, I feel like I'm onto something. And so all that to say, long story short, I came to my publisher and brought him the idea. And when he read the original manuscript, he said, Jared, that concept's in the book, but the book is really pointed towards truth. What is truth? And so we take a completely different approach to understanding and identifying truth. It's instead of me as the author saying, this is truth, this is truth, this is truth, I present truth in a way to where the reader can say, I can find truth for myself.
Nice.
I want it to be empowering and less enabling. So with that said, my publisher says, Jared, aren't you a singer-songwriter? I said, I am. He goes, why aren't you writing a song? So for the listeners who are unaware, in 2020, I went through a divorce, actually through COVID. And so the last few years, my creative juices have been a little sucked dry. And I hadn't written a song in about 2 or 3 years. And I never forget, it was this past February, just a few months ago. It was on a Wednesday night at 10:30 p.m. And I said, God, I really desire to write a song in collaboration with my new book, but I got nothing. I have nothing. And Elena, as real as I'm talking to you right now, at 10:30 at night, the lyrics, the melody line, the chord structure, all of it came within 10 minutes. And we have the song. So we have a song and we have a book. I like to call it Song and Solutions. We have solutions for your life and we have songs to inspire you.
Wow, that's amazing. And that is the merging of our 2 worlds right there.
Yes.
Totally. That's amazing.
I appreciate it. It's really exciting. We're actually giving away my new music for free whenever you pre-order my book.
That's so amazing. And for anybody watching, we're getting links. Things will be available on the Christmas Widow. So definitely we'll have that available. So you had to go through a process of purging these huge pieces of yourself for it to make sense. What could you say to a listener that is really confused because they're in a low point? You mentioned your divorce. Ideas are there, nothing's connected. They're just kind of losing a little bit of hope. What's there tomorrow? What would you tell them right now?
Thank you for that question. When you're in the middle of it, the light is dim and you don't see much hope. It's easy to talk about it once you've come on the other side or you're getting close to the other side. I will say this as a person of faith, two things. I believe that God puts a vision in every single heart, in every single soul for a better tomorrow, for a brighter future. I think that when you lose sight of that future, of where God wants to take you in your life, what your mission is, what your vision is, when you lose sight of that, it's so easy to fall into a hole that you don't want to get out of. And so for me, I can remember crying my eyes out, crying myself to sleep, saying, Lord, I'm 39 years old. I'm waking up to an empty house on Thanksgiving and Christmas for the first time in my life. And again, I think, number one, it is paramount, Elena. It is of utmost importance to make sure that you have people in your life who will hold your hands up when you can't hold them up yourself.
Yeah.
You have to have people around you who won't just encourage you every now and then, but who are going to walk through it with you. So you got to have people who are going to walk through that low point with you. Number two, you have to constantly keep that vision of a brighter tomorrow in the forefront of your mind. And when you lose sight of that vision, you need to have those friends who are with you, those people who are shoring you up to remind you of the vision of your life. And so I truly believe that life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. Life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. And there's an old saying, if you're walking through hell, don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. And some real practical things that helped me. If I was lonely at night, or if I felt like I was just lost, or that my mind was in a blur and I couldn't think straight and I had no hope, when I would go to sleep early, the thing is that when I woke up in the morning, I was better.
Mhm.
I would say for those who are going through a low point, the solution is not sleep, but the solution is, or some hope is that when you wake up in the morning, it's a new day.
Yes. Yes.
And in the early mornings, the best part of your day, whenever your body is rested, your mind is alert, you're feeling better than you were the night before, that's when you should rewrite your story, rewrite the vision of who you want to be from this point forward. And Elena, that's what helped me finish this book. That's what helped me finish the song. That's why I'm interviewing with you right now. And so it's not just important to stay busy for staying busy's sake,
Mhm.
but it is important to be productive for your purpose.
Yes. Love that. Be productive for your purpose. That's huge. Like that's gold right there. Everybody write that down.
Yeah, and it's not perfection, right? It's progress.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, a lot of us, when we have goals and we have destination disease, we feel like, well, when I get that marriage, or when I get that pay raise, or when I become that. And we all have these fill in the blanks. And when you get there, it's an illusion, it's a mirage.
Mhm.
When you get to tomorrow, tomorrow is today. And so I love Jim Rohn. He says that direction is more important than destination.
Wow, that's a good one too.
Direction is more
Direction.
important than so you don't want to get destination disease. The process, don't curse the process,
Yeah.
because the process just might be the purpose.
Wow. Love it. And I mean, just all of that. Don't stop when you're walking through hell like that. I love that. That's a visual, but it ties all those pieces in it. Just keep going. Just keep going. And when you like think of it that way, yeah, you're in that hell. You're walking through that fire. Why would you don't want to just like get comfy right there. Like keep going. Every
Yeah.
new thing is a new day, new opportunity. Yeah.
That's so good. I mean, if you think about it from a physical standpoint, if you and I were getting burned by fire, we would be running.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
wouldn't just stand there. We would run, drop, and roll.
We wouldn't be laying there saying, "Oh, this just hurts so bad."
No, we would be, ow.
I love it. So what's next for you? What do you see? What do you see in your direction? What do you want to happen with this book and this music?
So that's such a great question. You know, you asked me that, and I've literally been pondering that question for the last year and a half. As I've been coming through that season of divorce, that season of low creativity, I've been asking myself, God, what is next for me? And I want to answer your question, but I need to answer it this way. I want to encourage all the listeners that the past is in the tomb, your future is in the womb, and you have right now. And so you might say, well, I don't have much, but you have something.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what does my future look like? That's a great question. I don't know what the future holds, but I know who holds the future.
Mhm. Oh, I love that too. Yeah.
And so I would say use what's in your hands to fulfill what's in your heart. Use I don't care if it's little or much or big or small, but
Mhm.
use what you do have in your hands to fulfill what's in your heart. So with the music and with the book, so I want this to have an impact on people. I want them to be empowered, not enabled. I'll never forget, Elena, I was at a convention, the John Maxwell live certification event in 2016. And one of the days was on coaching. Well, growing up, when I think of a coach in a traditional sense, it's, attaboy and attagirl, and it's football and baseball and coaches. But when it comes to personal development, life coaching, people come to us with problems and they want us to fix them. But I had an epiphany at this event because the speaker said, when you fix someone's problem, you actually enable them. Well, I never thought of it that way before. It says you take their ability, you take away their power to think for themselves. But when you ask them strategic questions, you're still leading them to the answer you would have initially given them, but you're asking them questions and they're coming up with their own conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're empowering them. So this book is asking the questions and it's leading the reader to find truth for themselves. And Elena, in a world where, my truth is different from your truth, and speak your truth, and and what is truth, and what is real news, and what is fake news, and what is counterfeit, and what is authentic, and who do we listen to, and who do we trust? I feel like the world's in a major trust deficit. I feel like the world is on information overload, but they're starving for truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone may say, well, Jared, isn't that arrogant or presumptuous or pompous of you to say that you have truth figured out? And that's the whole point. I don't have truth figured out.
Mm-hmm.
But the book will help the reader find truth for themselves.
Love it. Love it. And that can apply to anyone.
Yes.
Like anyone could pick this book up and gain value from it because we all have our own truth to discover.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Wow.
I heard someone say, it spoke to me. They said, um, people hate to be taught, but they love to learn.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
And it just brings me back to where don't don't just sell me something. Fill a need in my life.
Mhm.
Fill a need. You know, you gotta touch a heart before you ask for a hand. You with me? And so that's my prayer. That's my aim. That's my ambition for the music and the goal to truly touch a heart. Because I believe that once the heart is touched, they see that vision for their life, and you don't have to pull them. You don't have to push them. The vision will pull them itself.
Wow, I love that. And as we focus through this 24 hours, and I talk about circle of hope, I'm kind of envisioning it like we're passing the baton to each other, or lighting that candle for each other, where it's really helping one person
Yeah.
every day. And so in writing your book or writing that song, did you think of that, of the experience that you were going through while bringing it together, but how is this going to touch someone's life? Like, did that even, the magnitude of that even cross your mind?
I think the inception, I knew that there was something that was going to help people. But to answer your question, I feel like that revelation, if you would, that epiphany, is unfolding every day as I talk to more and more people. Elena, I truly believe that we have more that unites us than divides us. I know it sounds cliche, but we're human. All of us are human. I don't care what your ethnicity is, female, male, it doesn't matter, or your age. We're all living the human experience.
Yes.
And so, um, I can't spend my life making balancing statements my whole life. I can't spend my life saying, well, I wonder who's going to relate to this. The fact is that someone's going to relate to it
Mhm. Mhm.
because we all have similar situations. We're all walking down the road of life, I believe, for the most part, doing the very best that we can, or that we know how to.
Mhm.
And so for me, sharing, being vulnerable, being authentic and transparent, and sharing my story and sharing my experiences, my hope and prayer was that, you know what, this is going to touch somebody. And here's the beautiful thing about truth, Elena, is that when it's pure in essence, your motivation is, if it touches 5 people or 50 or 500 or 5,000 or the world, the fact is that it's touching someone.
Mhm.
Of course, your ego says, I want the masses to get the book and learn it. But at the end of the day, each one reach one.
Love
If
it.
if if the message is resonating, it will spread
Mhm.
because it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
I truly believe that the message of truth is so much bigger than me. I'm just humbled and honored enough and privileged enough to be able to be the messenger.
Love it.
So
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And yes, I'm so excited to be on this end of it and
yeah,
connect with you, and to witness this growth in this process and celebrate along the way with you. And it's just taking that risk. It's a beautiful thing.
it
It's an
is.
absolutely beautiful thing. And so, for those people that have those ideas and they're just sitting on them, their voice matters. Their pain counts for something, and somebody can benefit if they share their story as well.
That's so true. Someone once told me, Jared, you can love almost anyone once you've heard their story.
Wow. That is beautiful. And on that, we are going to end, because that is beautiful. I want to thank you so much for your time sharing with us, coming on here, being part of this big project for us this year. And just best of luck to you, and much love. And thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. It's been amazing.
Thanks.